All right, B6 midpoints. A midpoint is exactly what it says. It is the point that is in the middle of two other points. So on this one, it says, what is the coordinate of the midpoint of EF? E is at 21 and F is at 23. So what's in the middle of 21 and 23? Well, some of you are able to just look at it and say, okay, 22 is between 21 and 23. But let's say that these numbers are a little bit harder. What would you do to be able to find the midpoint? You would take one endpoint and add, you take one endpoint, 1x, and you'd take the other endpoint, add them up, and divide by 2. And if you add up and divide by 2, then you're finding the number that's in the middle of those two numbers. So 21 plus 23 divided by 2. You would add these up first. 21 plus 23 is 44. Now we're going to divide by 2. 44 divided by 2 is 22. And that's what you're going to do every single time on this lesson, I think. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Okay. What is the coordinate? So there's 22. What is the coordinate of the midpoint of CD? C is at -2, D is at +1. Like, what's in the middle of negative and a positive? Well, if you're visual and you have this written out like this, then you could see that if it's -2 and 1, then it'll be here. Halfway in the middle is between 0 and -1. What's halfway in the middle of 0 and -1? -0.5. So that would be the answer if these numbers are kind of, that obvious. But let's say we don't know that. So it'd be the first endpoint, which is -2, always plus, and then the second endpoint would be 1, and we would divide by 2. Add first, because that's on top. -2 plus 1 is -1. Bring the 2 over. This does not reduce. -1/2 is your answer. -1/2 and -0.5 is the same answer, right? Write your answer as a decimal, which would be that, or mixed number. And that's kind of if you really know your math, this isn't a mixed number, but they're accepting it as a mixed number and stuff. So you could either put -1/2 or -0.5 in this box and be correct. Right, what is the coordinate of the midpoint of WX? W is at 65, X is at 68. In the middle is right here, which would be 66.5. Mathematically, 65 plus 68 divided by 2, that'd be 13, carry the 1, 133 over 2. Okay, and mixed number. So 2 would go into 133, 66 and 1/2 times, or 66.5. What is the coordinate of the midpoint? -10 to 5. It'd be right here. So what's between 0 and -5? -2.5. -10 plus 5 over 2. -5 over 2. 5 is bigger than 2. So 2 goes into 5 2 times. So our answer is going to be a -2 with 1 left over, which would be -2.5 or -2.5. What's in the middle of these? If it's right here, they're both negative. Negative 654 is bigger than negative 655. So in between here would be negative 654.5. Negative 655 plus negative 654 divided by 2 would be negative 1309 divided by 2. Then you'd ask yourself, 2 goes into 1309, negative 654 times, with 1 left over. Okay. If I have something written like that, that probably means whenever I was looking at these problems, I answered it incorrectly because I didn't read the question. So once you do all these, you kind of get into your mindset, this is what we're going to do every single time. Well, to a certain point, then they're going to change it up with you. Okay, so let's read it. V is the midpoint of UW. What does that mean? That means that U and W are the endpoints. That's why they're at the end. And V is exactly in the middle. If they're exactly in the middle, then that means that this length is exactly the same as this length. And in math, if it said that it's exactly the same, that means that they are equal. So if UV equals x plus 8, they've already labeled it for us. VW equals 5x, they've already labeled it for us. What is VW? Well, VW, the answer to that is not 5x. What it's asking for is, if we knew what x was, then we would plug that number in and be able to find 5W. So how would I find x? Well, if V is in the middle, then x plus 8 is the same as or equal to 5x. And when you have an equation where the only variable that you have is the same variable, then we can get it equal to itself or get it solved for it. X is the same as 1x, so we subtract 1x from both sides. 1 minus 1 is gone. The 8 is still here. 5 minus 1 is 4. We bring the x down. To get x by itself, we divide both sides by 4. That cancels that out. And x equals 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 is not the answer because it doesn't ask what is x, it asks what is VW. So if VW is 5x and x is 2, then we would plug 2 in for x and get 10. Okay. U is the midpoint, so it's exactly in the middle. TU is x minus 1. TV, which is the whole thing, is 3x minus 8. How long is TU? Like, okay. So I'll let you think about it for just a minute. How would I set this up as an equation, which means that I have an equal sign somewhere, to be able to solve for x? Well, x minus 1 is not the same length as 3x minus 8, because 3x minus 8 is the whole thing. What we do know is that TU is the same as UV. So if I know what TU is, which is x minus 1, I also know, let's see if I can see that a little bit better. Also know that that is x minus 1. So set it up as an equation. X minus 1 plus x minus 1 is going to give us the whole thing. Okay. For the ones that struggle with solving an equation, you're going to have to do it a lot in geometry. This is not going to go away. It's not going to be the last time you see it. So if you are struggling to know what to do here, please ask me, and I will try to help you I will help you one-on-one. All right, so the equal sign is like your wall. We're going to put like terms together if we have any before we start moving them back and forth. This x and this x are on the same side. 1x plus 1x is 2x. 1 and 1 are the same. Not because of the same number, but because they don't have x's with them. So negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. These are not like terms, so they are going to come down. These are not like terms anymore, so I'm ready to start going over the wall. Let's look at the x's first. In general, for most of the time, it's going to be easier to move the x's first and always move the smaller x. This x is smaller, so we're going to move it over here. Right now, this x is positive because there's not a sign in front of it. So we're going to subtract it from both sides, and that goes away. So I didn't do anything with this 2 yet, so it's still negative. 3 minus 2 is 1, and I didn't do anything with the 8, so the sign comes down with it, so negative 8. Since this is the only thing that has an x with it, I want it by itself, so we're going to move this 8 over here. It's negative, so when we move it, we make it opposite. Negative 2 plus 8 is 6, and 1x is the same thing as x. So x is 6. 6 does not go in the box because the question doesn't ask what is x. The question is what is tu. Here is tu, and now I know that x is 6. We're going to put 6 into x, so 6 minus 1 is 5. And if you wanted to do the math, just check yourself. Let me just say right now, our answer is 5, okay? If you wanted to check yourself, if you put 6 into this, 3 times 6 minus 8, 3 times 6 is 18, minus 8 is 10. What is that saying? It's saying this whole thing is 10. So if this is 5, then that would be 5 because that u is in the middle, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So we know that we got the right answer. Okay, let's do some more. This is the same exact kind of question. Let's do it again. X plus 3 is over here. It's in the midpoint. E is the midpoint. So if this is x plus 3, then I know that this is the same. If I have x plus 3 plus x plus 3, then the whole thing is 3x minus 13. X plus x is 2x. 3 plus 3 is 6. Then I bring this down. Move this one over again because it's smaller than the 3x. Move the 3 over to get it away from the x. 6 plus 3 is 9. 1x is the same thing as x. So x equals 9. It wants to know DE, and D is over here. So if I put 9 in for x and add 3 to it, I would get 12. 12 is your answer. 3 times 9 minus 13 is 27 minus 13 with just a second. Oh my goodness. See, it's a good thing that I was checking myself. Over here, I'm sure some of you are like, what's going on? It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you can figure out what's going on. Okay, so this was 13. Excuse me. When I wrote it down, I left the 1 off. That changes everything. So I brought the negative 13 down here. So I'd bring the negative 13 down here. So I would add 13 to this side, and I'd add 13 to this side, and 6 plus 13 is 19. So 19 plus 23, oh goodness, 19 plus 3 is 22. So now I'm saying 22 is my answer. Let's check it. If I put 19 into X, that would give me 57. And 57 minus 13 is 44. I've lost my eraser for just a minute, so oh, here's a better pencil. Awesome. Okay, it's 44. If this is 22 and this is the midpoint, this would be 22. And 22 plus 22 is 44. So 22 is the correct answer. I'm glad I made that mistake. That way you can know how to check yourself. Okay. Same. R is the midpoint. So if this is 2x, then this is 2x. So 2x plus 2x equals 3x plus 11. These are both like terms. So 2x plus 2x is 4x. There are no like terms over on the right, so there's nothing to put together. This has an x and this has an x. Most of the time, it's easier to move the smaller x. So we're going to move this x over to this side. It's positive now, so we're going to subtract it. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1x is the same as x, so I'm saying x is 11. It's asking for QS. QS is the whole thing. So 3 times 11 plus 11, 33 plus 11 is 44. I'm saying 44 is the answer. So if I put 11 into this x, 2 times 11 is 22, which would make that 22, and 22 plus 22 is 44. So 44 sounds like it is the correct answer. Okay, all right. It's changed up a little bit. For the last 3 or 4 problems, they've given us one of the midpoint lengths and then the whole length. And the way that we solve that is to basically double up the shorter lengths to equal the longer length. It's what you're going to do every time on that. This one's different though. They don't give us the total length. So T is the midpoint of SU. T is in the middle of SU. If T is in the middle, that means this side is the same as this side. If they're the same as, then they are equal. So our equation is going to be 2x equals 1x plus 4. Move the 1x. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1x is the same as x, so x equals 4. ST is ST. So 2 times x, which is 4, is 8. Let's check it. If I put if I put 4 into this x, I got 8. Does that make sense? Yes, because this length is 8 and this length was 8, which means that T was in the middle. So we got the right answer. These are a little bit easier, it seems like to me. They gave you a picture, but they didn't label it, so let's see what's going on. U is the midpoint of TV. U is in the middle of TV. TU is x plus 2. UV is 5x minus 3. So again, they didn't give us the total length. They gave us the length of each segment. So if it's in the midpoint, then these two equal. So x plus 2 equals 5x minus 3. 1x is smaller than 5x, so I'm going to move it over. Bring the 2 down. 5 minus 1 is 4. Bring the negative 3 down. Add the 3. You aren't going to like this one. 2 plus 3 is 5. Bring the 4 down. What do we do to be able to get rid of the 4? We divide. 5 over 4 is finished because nothing goes into 5 and 4. We can't reduce it. It is reduced. So, what is TU? Here is TU. So, 5 over 4 plus 2. There's a couple of ways of doing it. Besides having a calculator, there's a couple of ways. Let's just change this. Since this is a whole number, let's just change this. 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over. Bring the 2 down. Add your whole numbers up. 3 1/4. If I wanted to check it, 5 times 5 over 4 minus 3. If you remember, to multiply fractions, multiplying fractions is no problem. Top times top and bottom times bottom. So that'd be 25 over 4 because we would put that over 1. 4 goes into 25 6 times with 1 left over. Bring down the 3. 6 minus 3 is 3 and 1/4. So I got the same length on this side as I did on this side. So it sounded like 5 over 4 is the correct x, and I did the correct math. So 3 1/4. Last one. UV is 3x plus 5. TV, the whole thing, is 8x plus 5. What is TV? So, which way are we going to do it? That's right. They gave us the total. So we're going to put this back over here. If you wanted to make it easier, if you have a 3x plus 5 over here and a 3x plus 5 over here, that just means we doubled it. So if we started with 3x and we double it, we get 6x. If we had 5 and we double it, we get 10. So that's what we get if we added the whole thing. 8x plus 5. Subtract the 6. Subtract the 5. Divide by 2. X equals 5 over 2. What is TV? TV is 8x plus 5. Put the x back in here. Put that over 1. Top times top and bottom times bottom. 8 times 5 is 40. 1 times 2 is 2. Bring the other 5 down. This is division now, so 40 divided by 2 is 20. Bring the 5 down, 25. All right, I'm here for you. Let me know if you have any questions.